In this video, I'm going to go over some simple momentum scalping strategies that work for both stocks and options. These are strategies and setups I've talked about numerous times on my channel and the ones that I apply daily and that have allowed me to become a consistently profitable trader. All right, let's get into the good stuff. Today is Wednesday, June 17th, and there were a lot of good setups today. So I figured this was a great opportunity to kind of just do a review of the best setups of the day. And remember, I have the 4 setups that I like. I'm going to keep repeating everything. It's all the same process over and over again. This is the process that works for me. The opening range break off the open, momentum scalp long, momentum scalp short. Those are quick off the open as well. And then the technical level break momentum scalp, which is a little bit later in the day if for some reason I didn't see a clean pattern off the open, because not every single day the open is going to provide an amazing pattern. And sometimes the action is just and I avoid it, and then I wait and I let the hand be shown later on. And then sometimes that's where I'll even take the first trade and maybe even the only trade of the day. So just getting right into it, there were a good amount of names. BYND was fantastic. So starting with the daily, BYND, very strong daily. And BYND was gapping up. It had some news, and it was gapping up. And as you can see, it gapped up over yesterday's high, or it was right around there. And then the daily high, this huge candle was where this thing caught momentum. It kind of had to digest that candle. And that pivot high was 163.22. So having some technical levels on where maybe this could get to, and if it gets there, where it could really start to catch momentum. So looking at the daily and realizing this has momentum at its back. People currently like this name, and there's news on it, and it's gapping up. So it's in play. Now, I'm going to start breaking it down like this, where I have, these are both 1-minute charts. One has pre-market data on, one has pre-market data off, just so that way you can really see the clean pattern. So BYND had a great setup off the open. This is a textbook opening range break. And when I say opening range break, sometimes they can happen in 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 8 minutes. It's hard to tell exactly when it's going to break. But once again, I keep saying a tight channel, some sort of consolidation or a channel off the open. And then when it finally breaks, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know when it's going to, but when it does, sometimes it happens quicker. That's the trigger to give it a go. That's my trigger. So this is what it looks like with the pre-market data on. Pre-market high, 158.40. Yesterday's high, the prior day high, 157.35. So I have these marked. And then really looking at the pattern without the pre-market data on, this one was quick. This was like this was a 3-minute opening range break. First candle's red. I like that because it shows some selling off the open and then quickly gets bought back up. Next candle starts to work its way back to the highs. That third candle, boom, right through 157. That is the trigger. And then also knowing that there is technical levels above. I always like to take a pattern knowing that there is technical levels above that could get other people to participate in the trade or algorithms to participate. Other levels like prior day's highs, a lot of consolidation on the daily, so like a pivot, and pre-market highs. I ended up actually taking this trade. I didn't get the most ideal entry, but I got it prior to the 158 break. All right, so here it is. Just want to actually show. I really did trade it. 250 shares, 157.89. Got all out, 159.42. Left a lot on the table, but I'm a scalper, so I will take my 1.5 move in under 1 minute. And then it had some follow through. This had some nice follow through and got a big move really fast. And as you can see, these momentum scalps, when these levels go and there's momentum at its back, they can be big moves really fast. And I'm a scalper, so I take those quick moves. 1-2 points really fast. I don't care if it's 10 seconds. I usually take it. So this thing breaks yesterday's high, breaks pre-market highs, and goes from about 158 to even, and then also that pivot high on the daily, it went there, it got there today. I didn't know it was going to get there today. And this thing went up to 164 off the open. I mean, look at this. Within the first 10 minutes of the day, it goes from a low of 154.50 to a high of 164.47. That's a huge move. Momentum scalps. That's it. Looking for that massive move off the open, ride the momentum, and then back off. Some other setups. This GSX. Looking at the daily, always going with the daily. It's a very bullish. Look at this breakout of this, a lot of this consolidation. Huge move. Buyers take control. A little bit of a relaxed day or a digestive day where you had a little bit of you had a red candle in between. And then this next day, held that move. Check this out. The reason why I wanted to show is this isn't necessarily, I didn't have this on my radar, but I looked at it after the fact. This is one of the cleanest opening range breaks. And not even necessarily cleanest, but one of the biggest moves after the fact. So here's what it looks like with pre-market data on. Pre-market highs, 53.33, bullish daily. Now, this is where waiting for some sort of consolidation off the open. And you never know how long that consolidation may be. Could be, like I said, the 3 minutes like in BYND, 5 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes. Usually within the 10 is where I want to see a channel, some tight consolidation, and then a break in the direction that this thing is clearly saying that's in control, which is to the long side. And very quickly, so this thing has a little bit of price action that is not the cleanest, and then it starts to consolidate. So there's a clear channel there. The high, this little wick high, is 52.19, and the low is 51.73. So there is about a 50-cent channel there. It's getting tight. It works its way back towards the highs. The high would be the trigger that this should go through and go fast. Ideally trying to get in prior to that break. I would be risking off the low since it's not too far away. Sometimes the low a day can be a little too far away, and I won't risk off low a day. But being that the low a day is not that far away, risking off 51, about 75, 70s, about 50 cents. Check out the follow through on this. Now, this is an outlier. This does not happen every single time, but this goes from 52.20 to straight up to 54. So it gets through pre-market highs, catches more momentum, and goes right up to 54. That's a huge move. And then even right after the fact, this is more of that momentum scalp long. The reason why this is a momentum scalp long and not a technical level break momentum scalp, as far as my setups that I like, is because there hasn't been enough action to create that technical level yet. The technical level break momentum scalp is when a level has been tested numerous times throughout the day, and there has been a lot of movement up and down throughout those tests. And then finally, when it gets tight again, and it's usually that 30 to 45 minutes plus, and then it goes, and then it tests resistance again, there is a high likely that it will break, especially when there's momentum at its back. So the momentum scalp long here is just because it's still within 20 minutes of the day. Not a lot is going on. It's just big drive in price, consolidate, flag pattern, next leg up. That's the difference. And this thing cracks 54. And here's another amazing setup because the low of this channel is 53.50. So it gets tight. Clear risk. Risking about 50 cents. It cracks 54. Try to get there a little bit before, maybe 5 cents before, and want it to go quick. This is a little bit of a chase, but this is just the momentum here. So not putting too much risk on, knowing that it's a stretch, but I want to give it a chance because it still looks good. Breaks 54, and then look at this rip. $1.50 rip in seconds on insane volume. So this isn't typical, but I wanted to go over it because it's very clean. Very clean that it even set up again. But it's gone too far, too fast at this point. I don't want to mess around. Even this area is a little bit of a chase, but there's so much momentum at its back that I think it's worth giving it a shot and only risking 50 cents on the trade. So SQ, Square. This thing, I traded this yesterday and got a quick little move on it. Clear momentum. Has so much momentum at its back. Very strong daily. All-time highs is at, I believe it's at like 115 or 105 or something like that. And so this is where it can be a little because it's already had 2 up days. So it's hard to want to take, expect the same big moves on that 3rd up day. I kind of like day 1 of it breaking out of a channel or a technical level, and then day 2, maybe some follow through, but just continuously chasing things up every single day. That's where I'm very careful, because that's where you start, you get caught into a stuff, and then it goes, and then it rolls over, and then that's where you can, sometimes take a pretty quick loss. But here's an example of a day 3, 1, 2, 3rd up day, and it has follow through. So now let's break it down on the lower time frame chart. And pre-market high, 95.69. Prior day high, 95.87. So I'm constantly having these levels marked on my chart so I know where they are. I don't want to have to keep flipping back to a bigger time frame. I put them on the chart so that way on the lower time frame, I know exactly where everything is trading at and where those levels are. And this is much more of a momentum scalp long. I'm trying to get examples of everything that I like, because if you see square off the open, it just goes straight up, straight up. And I don't want to take that. Maybe there was a chance to get involved and have that be a winner, but I don't want to create that bad habit. So here's where I see an opportunity. It goes through pre-market high, through yesterday's high. So this thing is clearly catching momentum right here. Finally get a little bit of a pullback. And then on its way back up towards the high. This is more of that momentum scalp long, just riding the momentum, knowing that there is technical levels that it is broken and it could possibly catch more momentum. Have a 2-candle pullback, so it was very quick, and then off it goes again. Trying to end, so the high was 96.30, 96.30. So those 2 candles, 96.30 was the high. As this thing starts to make its move towards that high again, try to anticipate that break for a quick momentum scalp long. Maybe if I'm lucky enough to get in 96.20 and risking right off probably 95.80, the low of that, 95.70s, want it to go fast or just bail. And then this thing has a very fast move through that high. So a little bit of a flag pattern, breaks, quickly pulls back. Once I'm in the money, I like to have my stop at break even. It pulls back a little bit, but a little bit of patience with this trade, and it makes that next leg up and big move, almost up to 98. So that was an example of a more of a momentum scalp long. Just trying to show examples of all of it, because it's not going to be every single day that there's going to be the most clean opening range break or the cleanest technical level break momentum scalp. It's about taking the setups that I've identified work for me and then applying them to the names that I think are in play and have the best chance to have a nice move that day. So Twilio, this thing was gapping. It gapped up, and it actually made a new all-time high pre-market. So that new all-time high momentum trade, especially in these market conditions, it is day 3 green. So hard to expect that there's going to be a huge move, but just a little bit of momentum is all that I'm looking for. And being that it's a new all-time high, it'll probably be on watch for others and maybe some algorithms. So lower time frame chart. Here is it with the pre-market data on. And so I have the all-time high. I make a jotted green line for all-time high, pre-market high, 212.65, that baby blue line. And here is a nice clean opening range break. So this one had a very clean ORB. So and then as you go, here's an example where you never know how many minutes it's going to take to create that clean ORB. All you're doing is just watching the price action. All I'm doing is watching the price action. I want some consolidation and then a break of the high. So this was 3 minutes of consolidation, and then boom, right through the high day and the whole number above. There it is. And then so 212. So just watching this, knowing that if this gets up to around 212, there's a chance that this could possibly get going, and knowing that pre-market highs is above that. So there is a technical level above that on top of it being trading at a new all-time high. So I'm trying to anticipate that entry, get in just before the break, maybe 211, 80s, 90s, breaks 212, nice rip. Has a big move very fast. My stop is now break even. Hold it for a couple minutes. I'm out. I take that quick move. So it goes from 212 to about 213.60s. Get over a point in a couple minutes. Take the move. And this is why I don't really like holding, because sometimes those pullbacks can get me out of stuff rather than just taking the quick move. I like to take the quick move and then reevaluate. And here's where it even sets up again. And this is more of a momentum scalp long. And once again, it's more of a momentum scalp long because it's still within the first 10 minutes of the day. Clean opening range break. Let's say I happen to not get that. Nice big move here. Buyers clearly take control. Where is an opportunity to possibly get in? This thing pulls back right here. A little bit of a flag pattern. That high a day is 213.79. Trying to anticipate the break of that. If I'm really good, maybe 213, an area where I would probably more realistically get in, right around 213.50s, and it breaks for a point, it pulls back in. So I would have probably gotten stopped out for flat on this. But assuming that I got a really good entry and I was able to hold on for another minute or two, boom, moment price starts to speed up, 215, 216, I am out. That is all I'm looking for. So has the opening range break off the open, 3 minutes, 4th minute, breaks the high, and then more of a momentum scalp long on this pullback, and then catches up to the 9 moving average. Buyers clearly take control again, off to the races up to about 216. And then I will go through one more on Tesla. The reason why I want to go over Tesla is because we all know that Tesla has some serious momentum at its back, and every dip just keeps getting bought in this stock, and it was trading. It's not too far away from all-time highs. So I feel like as long as the market is not completely falling apart, it's kind of always going to be a magnet for Tesla to just keep going to all-time high, especially when it has a few days of consolidation. And this huge green bar right here, it was a gap down and looked like it had a chance to go lower. Buyers clearly took control, caught momentum. So off the open, this didn't really do much. I didn't see any sort of clean setup, but I marked pre-market high, pretty ugly trading. This is where it starts to get interesting. So this is the technical level break momentum scalp, where buyers are clearly in control, but there's no real clean setup. And then this is where it starts to get very, very tight. So as the day goes on, it starts to get tight, catches up to the averages. I really like the 9 and the 20. So the high a day is 995.50. That's the technical level. We're going on a couple hours into the day, and right there. So here is the channel that was created just under the high of day. It hit 999, 999, 999. So it had a level of resistance at 999. It hit it 3 times, also knowing that the high of day is just above that. Resistance gets tested so many times, eventually when it breaks, it has follow through, and there is a technical level above 999.50, and also the whole number 1,000. So I feel like 1,000 is kind of like a magnet for it to get to. It cracks 999, and the cool thing is there's a little prior candle low where the risk wouldn't have had to been that far away, because sometimes the risk on Tesla can be far away because it's very pricey. So trying to anticipate the break of this area of resistance that I had trouble going through, once against right before 999, trying to get in 998.80s, 998.90s, risking off this little candle low, maybe even give it to 98. So risking about a point. I want it to go fast or just get out and avoid any sort of rollover. And boom, this thing goes through 999.50, quickly goes through 1,000, and look at this fast spike of about 2.5 points in just minutes. Moment price starts to speed up, I'm getting out of the trade. And that's it. And then once again, I don't really like to hold too long, especially later on in the day, because it gives it all back pretty fast. Riding that quick momentum pop, and then I bail and I'm out of the trade. So catching a few points on Tesla very fast and then moving on. And those are the examples of all the setups that I like and how I go about scalping them. Let me know what you think of the video. Please like it, so that way I know the stuff that everyone is interested in. And feel free to subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to start pumping out a lot more videos. And until the next video, I will see you later.